Hello, Smash Brothers and Animal Crossing enthusiasts. Welcome to this video here on my channel, the MFC. And what you are currently looking at is my development for a concept video that I'm working on right now called Smash Crossing. All right, there we go. Avoided saying something stupid online. No one ever does that, right? But yeah, Smash Crossing is my concept of a alternate universe where all the Smash roster is occupied by Animal Crossing characters. And so that is what you're currently looking at now. Each character has been specifically chosen to replace a current Smash Ultimate fighter. And we went from not only just taking Ultimate's roster and switching those characters, but we went through from the very beginning with specific rules, and we're going to show those rules in my future video. But in this specific live stream, I've chosen to take this small amount of time to show you some of the movesets that I've given to some of these characters and kind of dive a little bit deeper into the development of what each of the characters will play like and how I came up with some of their moves. And we're actually going to be adding to a couple of those today because I still have a couple that I need to work on still. All right, so here are the Smash 64 characters. The characters are Villager, Villager female, Caesar, Copper, Gulliver, Rossetti, Wendell, Tom Nook, Static, Katrina, Chow, and KK Slider. These are your playable characters in that game. Your unlockable characters include Katrina, KK Slider, Chow, and Female Villager. So here are some of their moves, as you can tell here. So we have Villager males moves are mostly based off of the iconic Animal Crossing tools, while the female villager does retain some of those tools, but is slightly more focused towards nature, and she also has the umbrella item, which the male villager does not have. And we also have Caesar. He's kind of your Donkey Kong replacement, and he's going to have some of those punch moves, while his clone, which instead of having Kirby's clone be Jigglypuff, we're actually going to have Donkey Kong's clone be this character here, which is Chow. Chow is a wannabe ninja, but he's more of a sumo wrestler kind of character. He's got a sumo stomp, shadow sneak, things like that. So he's going to be Caesar's clone. We also have Copper here. He uses his spear as a javelin, and he'll be having a throw and a tether. He'll also have this move called Reorder, which is kind of similar to like Mario's cape, how instead of when a person's attacking you forward, it'll actually reorder them and flip them around so that their attack goes another way instead. We also have Gulliver over Samus, and eventually we'll see that Spacesuit Gulliver will be over Zero Suit Samus, and so that's why we picked Gulliver for that character. He'll also have a cannon move, and some of the even Jigglypuff's move is kind of transferred onto him, where he'll have a rest move because you find him passed out on the beach, so he'll have kind of a rest that he can kind of regain some health or something along the lines of that. Rossetti. Now, I'd love to see this character in actual Smash. I think that he'd be a really great candidate for a future Smash Bros. Game. Maybe if it was made back in the City Folk days, we would have had a better chance of Rossetti being in. But unfortunately, nowadays, I think he's a little too in the past to be an Animal Crossing rep. Who knows? I'd love to see it, though. Some of his moves have to do with his, abilities in the game. He hates resetting, and so we're gonna make a move where he'll actually reset other villagers and stuff like that. It's kind of like a counter. He'll also have a lockdown move, so any of his moves can automatically be locked into another character. It's kind of like a reticle that appears over a character, and he'll be able to lock into them. And so any of his attacks, whether it's his dig or any of his attacks, will automatically lock on to the nearest character, and he'll be able to dig towards them, pop up, and chain different attacks. With that, he's like a hit and run character. Wendell is your Kirby replacement. He's really interested in food, so we're gonna have Wendell be kind of the character that likes to eat things. He'll also have a wallpaper roller, which will roll kind of people into this he'll kind of use almost like an ink roller, similar to what Splatoon has in their Inkling rep. How Inkling kind of rolls the ink on the ground and then buries anybody. That's kind of going to work very similar to that. And then he'll have a buff move, which kind of buffs up his character, and he'll be able to eat some fruit through his inhale move and different items and stuff. He'll be able to inhale or eat those items. And then Tom Nook, he's going to play in a very cool manner. He'll have an ability where he can put a down payment on a head, if you will, of an opponent. And once he attacks that opponent with a certain amount of damage, then he'll be able to rack up and take inventory of what that damage is, and then he'll be able to cash it in for different stronger attacks, or maybe even a counter towards that specific player. Then he'll also be able to use items that are in his stock, as well as a bounce move that will bounce him off of whether it's an item or a box, like a cardboard box, and he'll bounce up and get a boost similar to like Sonic Springs or different moves that are similar to that. Static is your Pikachu clone. He'll have a lot of similar moves to Pikachu, including like the Thunder move, which we've called Thunderstorm. And then he's pretty straightforward. It's just a kind of a carbon copy of Pikachu over him. Katrina is your Ness replacement, kind of very similar moves to Ness as well. And then our last character is our Captain Falcon replacement. Not that he's going to play like Captain Falcon, but he's going to be that lovable Smash staple that people will love so much. He'll have some cool musical-based attacks, and I think that'll be really fun to play as KK Slider. All right, moving on to our melee reps. This is where we're going to go a little bit faster, just kind of talk about the characters. You can look at their moveset. Rosie will be over Peach. Peach has a parasol, and Rosie will be no different. Alfonso is over Bowser. Rosie and Alfonso became very popular characters around this time, and then they later became very popular because of the Animal Crossing movie, which was not released at this time. However, I'm sure developers were thinking about, well, what characters are popular at this time? And Rosie was definitely one of those popular cat villagers, as well as Alfonso. He's got the Mario shirt on. So he'll have some cool moves that have to do with some of the tools as well, including fossils and the bug catching net. Later on, we'll see that Cherry is Rosie's clone, but, you know, that character doesn't appear till Ultimate, but it'll be a clone of Rosie. And so those are some of the moves there. The Nooklings are the Ice Climbers replacement. Tommy and Timmy. They'll have some cool moves as well. I've tweaked some of their moves since the last time I went over them. Mabel and Sable are the Zelda and Sheik equivalent. They'll be able to switch freely into each other and then later have individual representation, as Zelda and Sheik are split. So that'll be cool. They have some cool sewing and tailoring based moves, as well as using their quills to attack as well. All right. Going into some of our other clones, Agent S is a clone of Static, although Agent S is will have some cool moves that are specific to herself, including the superhero cape, which is a recovery. Crazy Red will replace another one of our clone characters. I believe that would be Roy, or something along the lines of that. Oh no, it'd be Falco. And he'll have some very similar moves in nature to Tom Nook, yet it'll be switched out for things that make sense for Red himself, including adding a pinwheel, which is a reference to the fact that he would open a stand for the fireworks show during the GameCube games. Later was featured in the Animal Crossing movie as well. He wasn't just the shiesty guy, he also opened a stand. In fact, he actually didn't sell any counterfeits at all up until those games, even though it's quite a sketchy business. It literally, his building wrote black market and then X'd it out and just kept the market things. You know, he's a pretty sketchy character round and round, so we kept him with those natures. Rattle is your Dr. Mario clone, but Dr. Mario isn't in the game, but we made a moveset that is decloned from any other character, made him a full character that uses the different harmful things like fleas and also swarms of wasps or bees that he'll use, and he'll use medicine to heal. medicine was introduced in Debutsu no Mori E+. So we're adding that in because, as we've talked about before, any character would have had to been available or have moves that were available or would be looking forward to the future. So we can't necessarily take moves from the future. We could just use characters that are basing their moves off of current games. And so Rattle was available. Blathers is your Marth replacement, and he'll have some cool features that have to do with all of his interests, including bug catching, fishing, as well as a fossil assessment. Another couple clones here that we'll go through. Porter, he is the young Link equivalent. He's a Link clone, and he'll be copying over Copper's moves. He'll have some cool individualized moves himself, so he won't be an exact one-to-one. And then down at the bottom here, we have Chip, who is a Blathers clone that's replacing Roy, and he has a moveset that is similar to Blathers, but focuses more on fishing, on that element, which makes sense because, you know, he's the fisher guy. Let's see, Jack. He's our Ganondorf replacement. He'll use some of his spooky moves to attack opponents, and he'll have a special ability, which is Candy Collector. We won't go into that right now. He'll later retain that special ability just later on in the Smash games. And then Farley. You may not know who Farley even is, but he's the Keeper of the Well in the Animal Crossing games originally. He would grant you the Golden Axe, and he has a magical staff as well. So not too much there. He's just a cool mythical character that replaces, I believe, Mewtwo. And then Joan is your last melee character. Joan will replace Mr. Game & Watch and will have a 10 turnip kind of function like Mr. Game & Watch has his perfect 10 hammer. That will be under the white turnip batch, as you can see here. And depending on how many you pull, the severity of the attack or the effects will be different. And then the red turnip seed is similar to how you can plant a tree, or Peach can pull out turnips from the ground. And by planting that red turnip seed, you can either water it to grow it, and you got to maintain keeping up with it before it withers away, or you can pluck it out of the ground, similar to Peach plucking a turnip out of the ground, and attack with different severe attacks. If that thing is fully grown and it's been able to mature, then you'll have a similar to effect to Peach's special turnip that she pulls out of the ground with the circular eyes. So that's all for Melee. Now we're moving into Brawl. The first equivalent to Meta Knight is Sterling, and Sterling will have some moves that reflect similar to how Meta Knight is, you know, a knight. Sterling is also considered a knight and will have some lance and helmet and shield moves that will attribute to that character. Next character is Jingle over King Dedede, and Jingle will be able to store people in his bag, similar how to King Dedede can inhale people and spit them out. He'll also use a festive tree and a reindeer flight, and he will have a cool final smash that has to do with his sleigh. Final smashes aren't all displayed here, but will be displayed on later characters. They'll be featured in my video that I'm releasing very soon, so make sure to stay tight for that. Pave is, he has some feather type moves, some confetti, some rainbow type moves. Pretty cool there. And Gracie / Gracie Grace is your Wario equivalent. How Wario has the most costumes in the game. In Brawl, I figured that the literal costume designer, Gracie, should have her own moves, and she will have some exclusive moves, even though Wario does not. Gracie will have some differing moves depending on what costume you play. So her Gracie characteristics will reflect more of the Animal Crossing original GameCube moves. However, Gracie Grace will reflect her city folk appearances, including the city bus and a designer shirt. All right, moving to the Postal Trio. This is your Pokemon trainer replacement, and this is Pelly, Pete, and Phyllis, and they will all be able to switch into each other freely, and some of their attacks will have some significant help towards the other characters, like Pete can package characters and then deliver them, where Phyllis can recycle different moves and turn them into more powerful, whether it's items or replace different things with kind of like a counter, if you will. And then Pelly will be able to cash in those things into donations and be able to power up her moves and kind of help herself out. They all have fly as their up special, and their down special is the shift change, which is basically like switching your Pokemon into a different one through the Pokeball. And then, as mentioned earlier, the Spacesuit Gulliver is the Zero Suit Samus equivalent, and will have some similar type moves, but will also be using UFOs to be able to attack people and take them in the air, similar to the Galaga sprites in more recent games. Just an equivalent of that. Nat is going to appear as another Blathers clone. This is going to be over Ike. And we'll have some similar moves to Nat and Blathers. Or I'm sorry, Chip and Blathers, but be more focused on bugs instead of fishing or an all-around character like Blathers. And then a special character. This is replacing Snake, Solid Snake in Brawl. He will have some moves that are pretty cool, including mushroom-based moves, Acorn, Pop Gun, and then Fall Wind. And then Margie is your Diddy Kong replacement. Diddy Kong likes to cling on to people and also shoot his pop gun, so we're going to equivalent Margie to Diddy Kong with a friendly hug, party popper, fountain fireworks, and then a SketchUp move, which is her recovery. She liked to sketch in the Animal Crossing movies, so we're giving her those abilities. Celeste is the perfect Lucas replacement, as she is a Star Watcher, and so her final smash will be shooting star, and some of her moves will have to do with stars as well. Cap'n is your Sonic replacement. Cap'n was a very special character in the early games. He was only available to see in the early games through GBA link cable, and so we're making Cap'n a very special character in this game as well. He'll not only use his sailor kind of persona, but he'll also feature his taxi and his bus that can randomly be connected to his side special. So whether you're attacking with a boat, a taxi, or a bus, it's randomized. Or maybe it'll be in order, similar to how Peach could attack with, you know, the golf club, the frying pan, or the tennis racket, and it would always appear in that specific order later on in the games. I don't know. And then Dr. Shrunk, later on, he will be featured with Alf, and that will be with Frillard, but Dr. Shrunk will be the main Olimar replacement, and it'll have a lot of attacks that are based off of emotion, while Brewster is your Lucario replacement, and Brewster will attack and have an aura meter, if you will. It's more of a heat meter is what we're calling it here, and the more that he gets attacked, the more his heat will go up, and then his attacks will be higher powered and, you know, hotter, if you will. All right, I realized that I didn't turn on my music, so let's give a little music on in the background while we're continuing this. Speaking of Brewster, let's play a little of his music that's played in the Roost. All right, continuing on, Lloyd will be a character as well. I didn't know this before, but Lloyd is actually spelled with an I, not a Y. I guess you could spell it both ways, but a lot of his moves will be based off of gyroids, and also a lot of the moves that were featured with the gyroids in the Smash games. He had a launch like a rocket up in the air, rocket boost. And then he also had a side rocket as well, the Lloyd rocket. So we're going to be having some moves based off of those things. And then he's also going to be able to spawn a gyroid on the stage. And those calls that the gyroids had, the noises that they make, will differ in attack radius depending on what kind of gyroid is spawned. So, you know, as we know, there's a lot of crazy different sounding gyroids. Like we have thin and tall and round, and just very different kinds of gyroids that can be spawned. So depending on the type will differ in what the attack does while it's placed on the stage. Booker is the Toon Link replacement, and we finally have Copper and Booker now up in the series. And he is going to be kind of a clumsy character, but really fun to play. He's going to attempt to whistle, and if he ends up landing the whistle, his attack will actually do more than any normal whistle attack could do. It kind of functions similar to in Mario Kart, how you have the super horn. That'll kind of work similar to where you have a blast radius, and then he'll have a banana peel. As a callback to random force tripping in Brawl, he'll be able to trip opponents, since that was a feature that was added pretty newly in Brawl and pretty significant in that game. Lyle is coming back as your third Tom Nook clone. This is a replacement of Wolf, and he will have some similar features to Nook, but he will also attack with a telephone, which is similar to a boomerang. Well, he'll be able to throw out a telephone and it comes back to him and hangs up on the receiver. So that'd be a cool callback to in Wild World. You could talk on the telephone and in City Folk and change some of your settings. And you know, Lyle as an insurance man, he's got to make those phone calls. So we got to, you know, include his phone in that as well. And then now that completes the Brawl roster here. Now moving on to Smash 4, and Isabelle is your villager equivalent. Isabelle will have a cool move that includes 4 ordinances, where you'll be able to pick a Bell Boom, a Night Owl, a Early Riser, and Beautiful Town ordinance. And the way that you choose those ordinances will change the nature of your attack. So maybe the Beautiful will have like similar like grass or nature attacks, whereas the Early Riser might have fire type attacks, or Night Owl might have water or spooky like attacks, and the Bell Boom might increase like your attack power or something along the lines of that. I think that could be cool to workshop that a little bit more. Her scooter will make an appearance. It was a unlockable item in New Leaf Welcome Amiibo. We also saw the scooter appear as the City Tripper, I believe it's called, in the Mario Kart games, Mario Kart 8 and Deluxe. And then she'll be able to spawn a public works project as well. Zucker is your next character. This will kind of work over Mega Man, and he'll have some cool shield and bubble attacks that work similar to his pellets that he shoots out. And then Luna is over Wii Fit Trainer. She'll be able to use Deep Breath, similar to how you have a deep breathing buff attack. And then Dream Orb, similar to works to Sun Salutation. And her Astral Projection is just like a teleportation. And then her Time Diffuser, similar working to Bayonetta, where if you plant a Time Diffuser at the same time as somebody attacks you, instead of being a counter necessarily, it'll slow that character down, opening you up to attacking that person and racking up some more damage through Luna. And then Caitlyn and Katie are your Rosalina and Luma puppet character equivalent, and this one's going to be really fun. She puts Katie in timeout, so that basically sends her away. And then you can also attack with Katie through a tantrum, and she'll kind of like mess the character up. You also have a return, which returns Katie to you, and you'll be able to have like some damage racked up through that. And then her upper move is a pancake flip, and that's a reference to how Caitlyn holds a spatula, and they'll be able to do like a little pancake flip as their upward recovery. Moving on to our Little Mac equivalent, Rooney. Little Mac will have some punching moves and actually have a really good recovery as a bouncing uppercut, since kangaroos can bounce really high. Snake is your next character. He's from Smash 4, and he is replacing... wait, hold on. Don't tell me. Greninja. Yes, your Ninja Star character. You have a Paper Ninja Star, a Samurai Sneak, a Katana Counter, and a Zipper. And the zipper is a reference to the fact that his shirt is a zipper tee. Serena is your Palutena replacement, and she will use the Honesty Axe. And if you attack somebody and they're not attacking you back, it'll actually do damage to you. However, if the character is attacking to you and it will counter them, it will only attack the other player. So this is a risk versus reward kind of attack. And she will use similar moves to that of Palutena, a shield, golden light, and then a fountain will be her recovery. It's like a geyser that will give her a recovery move. And then I will talk about this final smash because I think this one is really interesting. So if Serena activates her final smash and touches or attacks another player, they will turn to pure gold. And when they do that, they will, in similar to like Tanuki Mario or like the Kirby move where it's like Kirby turns into Rock Kirby and like slams down on the ground. when the player is touched, they will actually slam down onto the ground, which you can literally create a way to attack other players through that. But also, if you happen to touch them over a ledge and there's no ground beneath them, they will be sent plummeting to their doom. So I thought that'd be a really cool final smash that I don't think has been introduced in any Smash game before. Just a completely new concept. And speaking of new concept, this one has to be talked about. The snow person is over Pac-Man. Now this will start with literally a snowball. It's a medium-sized snowball that is rolled around on the ground with a very tiny snowball that rolls alongside of you. So as you traverse the flat ground, solid ground in the game, you'll actually be able to collect snow and roll your snowball into a bigger size. And you can take that little snowball that follows you and you can swap into that one and roll that one. Then once you officially have those two kind of snowballs rolled, then it will combine the snowman into a playable hopping around character. So once you hit swap again, you swap the snowball, and then you swap again, and it'll turn into a snowman. And then you'll be able to use that attack move as a twirl until your player essentially is removed. There's also this is a very technical character, by the way. Not only is there a projectile, but there's also a meltdown. So your character can kind of have a crouch move, so you can avoid airborne attacks and things that are thrown at you by hitting the down button, and you'll be able to solidify back into a snowman again. Now, bingo. This is going to work interestingly. So if you only have a B racked up, this is if you have any damage at all, you'll be able to use the B recovery, and you'll be able to take one jump. However, the ability for the snowman is called the damage bingo card. So basically in New Leaf, you'd be able to play bingo with the snowman. And so you would call certain bingo numbers, and then you'd be able to collect snowflakes or something along the lines of that. There's a certain prize if you get bingo. Anyway, so as you're taking damage, there's going to be a bingo card attached to the player. There's going to be 5 numbers, and once you hit those randomized numbers every single time in your damage, so say your damage output is, like, your input is 2%. I've taken 2% damage. Well, if there's a 2 in your bingo card of 5 in a row, then it will automatically put a bingo stamp on there for you. And then it'll go up until, like, it can go up to even, like, 200, like, 200 or something along the lines of that. And then once you hit 200 damage, then you will have a full BINGO recovery. And what that means is the snowman will be able to hop a total of 5 times in order to recover. So if you're really low on the stage, you're going to get 5 Kirby hops with this recovery, but it can only be activated through having a full damage bingo card fill out. And then once that character dies, the snow person dies, you have to rebuild all from the ground up. So you're literally creating a character as you go. Very technical, but really fun concept. I'd love to see something like that in Smash as it is. The next character is Reese and Cyrus. This is your Robin replacement, and all of their moves have to do with re because they own retail. So they have a repair move, they have a resource, a repaint, and a recover. So essentially, you'll be able to create different things on the stage, similar to how in Fortnite you can create different different building materials, and then once they take damage, you can repair them. So basically, you send out a resource, and then through that resource you're able to craft. This is before crafting was a thing, but you can take that blueprint and build certain items, and then if those items take damage, you can actually repair those items. And then repaint basically means that if you don't like the item that you have, you can repaint it into something completely different from their inventory. And then recover is just basically a recovery move. Just a fun name for it. And then we're getting to the end of what I have so far. Phineas is your Shulk replacement, and Phineas uses his different badges on his badge wheel to give himself different buffs in his attacks, or different rebuffs, if you will. He uses the pinwheel as sort of like a gust. In Smash 4, they introduced the gust bellows as a move, and he's going to be able to use a pinwheel to kind of hold and push people across the stage, which can make it hard to recover for them. And all of his moves have to do either with his badges, which were introduced in New Leaf, or have to do with his balloon wagon, which he sold balloons in City Folk. And his final smash is a balloon pop game. You'll actually have balloon presents flying by, and if you attack one, but it's not the correct one, you won't get any sort of prize from it. You're actually going to get a bomb. So that attacking that balloon, similar to attacking a fake smash ball, will damage you. But if you hit a right balloon, it'll drop like a fruit or something to have some recovery. That's cool. His final smash is actually a game for the people to either get rewarded or get severely damaged. I know I'm talking quick. I actually got to go in a minute or so. Short video, you know, update today. But and then we have Layla, who is your Bowser Jr. replacement. And this is the troll character of the Smash universe. She has a toy hammer that can make people confused. She plays sailors, and she'll be able to, you know, drive her sailboat around, which is cool. So she'll be able to stick out the mast of her sailboat that she's driving around in. Oh yeah, by the way, she drives a sailboat, a toy sailboat. She will also use the corner mower, which was featured in the Hammer Tours that you could go on in the mini games on the island, on Tortimer's Island in New Leaf. And so I thought it would be cool to have a callback to that. And then finally, hide and seek is like a teleport move where she'll be here and then she'll appear over here, like she's hiding. Final couple characters, Harvey and the Birds. Harvey will work like Olimar, but he is a replacement over a different character, which I can't even remember at this point. But he'll work exclusively like, oh, duh, Banjo and Kazooie, or no, Duck Hunt. Yes, dog and bird combo. Forgive me. Yes, he'll work over Duck Hunt, but his moves will be very similar to Olimar. So not only will he fight with a bird, he's a dog that fights with a bird. This is a perfect allegory to Duck Hunt Dog or Duck Hunt Duo. But he will work like Olimar in the sense that he can recall birds and join his army of bird flocks and be able to send them out and attack players. And then his final smash is Food for Flock. And basically, he throws bird food on to another character that he targets, and then they literally, his swarm of birds comes in and attacks them and pecks their eyes out and damages them to high heavens. So also similar to Olimar, as he was given the winged Pikmin, I believe, in Smash 4. Harvey will be given the bird lift, which the more birds that you have in your party, if you will, you can have up to like 4 or 6 birds or something like that. It'll lift him higher in the air and for a longer period of time. Does that make sense? All right, Kix is your Ryu replacement, and he will work with, you know, different kicks and things like that. And he will also have a move that can dirty other players. So basically his Shoe Shine ability, which is his neutral special, will be able to attack players repeatedly. It's like a lock-in repeated attack, and once you're in, you can't escape. However, if that character is covered in soot, similar to how like you cover a character in ink with Inkling, that they take more damage from you. So if you cover the characters in soot, you'll be able to attack them for greater amount of damage because you're cleaning them. You know what I mean? So, and he has a rag whip that is similar to like how do I equivalate this? It would be similar to Simon Belmont's whip. And then he has a boot kick, which is his recovery. Finally, the character that I'm working right now on is Hamlet. And these are the remaining characters. Hamlet's going to play with his hamster ball. Sahara's going to use some moves with the rug and wallpaper sails that Sahara does. LaBelle is going to have some really cool like fashion moves. That's over Bayonetta. Harriet is going to be your first Smash Ultimate rep. She's going to be over Inkling, and she's going to use colored hairspray in a similar way to Kix does to attack players and rack up damage. And then you can just kind of look through the remaining characters that I'm currently working on. Robot Hero over Ridley. Wilbur over Simon and Richter. Simon. Big Top, Digby is the Isabelle clone. Audie over Incineroar. Don Rossetti is a cool Rossetti clone character coming back. Raymond over Joker. OK Crew over Hero. Wardell and Nico over Banjo and Kazooie. I think that one's a great matchup there. Zipper T Bunny, which is a completely random character, not based off of anything at all. CJ and Flick are going to be here. Leaf is going to be over Min Min, having some longer range attacks that can attack from a distance. Gullivar is here over Dark Samus, and Gullivar will have some cool moves, more moves that incorporate some piratey stuff, like maybe like a sword or a something along the lines of that. And then Lottie is here, based off of Happy Home Designer in Paradise. Franklin over Pave Clone, Pave Clone rather. Franklin will have some Turkey Day based moves. Shino is here. Orville is over Richter. Rover is here, completely new moveset. This is kind of over Minecraft Steve, having some terraforming stuff that they can do. Anka is here, debatably, over Sephiroth. Chrissy and Francine are the Pyra and Mithra. We have Pascal. We have DJ KK Slider as the final special character, which would be Sora. And then we have our Mii equivalents, which is Wisp, which you can turn into other players once they die or once you die, I think. Serena is a customizable face character, and Serena will actually fight with moves, believe it or not, from Amiibo Festival. It found a way to incorporate the worst Animal Crossing game. And then finally, the last character, Amiibo Villager, where you can scan Amiibos and be able to play as that type of villager and customize not only their moves, but what they look like and the type of animal that they are. So a lot of fun concepts here that I'm bringing to you. This is Smash Crossing, and that video is coming very soon, so I'm working on a lot of graphics. As you can tell, there's a lot of stuff to hash out, so it takes some time to think about this and really make it practical using logic. So I can't wait to release this video. It's still a lot of work to do, but this is just a taste of all the characters and what their movesets are going to look like, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this live stream. If you did, I appreciate it so much. Make sure to like and subscribe if you liked this video and are interested in seeing more about Animal Smash, Animal Crossing Small Town Big City, which is my fully conceptualized Animal Crossing game that I'm working through right now. Or even Smash Bros or Mario Kart content, because that's what I love to do. Animal Crossing, Smash Bros, Mario Kart, everything else is secondary for me when it comes to video games. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye.